So it had been almost 3 weeks since I'd placed these pegs down here in the bottom garden that I'm fixing up in order to plant some sorrel for Christmas and other crops. I'm multi-cropping. Sorrel is Jamaica's traditional drink for Christmas time, and I hadn't planted any in a long time. So I'm going to try some down here. I'm contouring it, making beds by pegging and using the same debris that I had weeded up from the land to make the backings for beds. But I started doing this row up here where I have the peg on top, which I should have started at the bottom, because when you start at the bottom, then you can actually land the backing of the next bed you're going to make on the back of the bed you're making now, because that's the best way. You get more space and it's neater, because your garden just don't just have to produce, it also needs to look beautiful. So let's get back into it. So I had already started putting a few things into this top bed, like some Scotch bonnet peppers I had on the roof in a container. I put things around them, branches, to shade them so that there is less transplant trauma and stress, because even some of them has started bearing already. See blossoms on them, even pepper on this one. What I did was to mark where I'm going to put the peppers, as opposed to other things I'm going to put in, like some sorrels I have. I need to plant them out right away because they are getting big, so that's why I made this bed up here. But I'm actually going to start further down so I can do it the way that I spoke about. When you do one lower, then you can drop the preceding bed on the back of the one that you just made, so it's neater and firmer. I'm chopping out a line across here because I can't find my construction line, so I'm using this piece of rope. I'm using this contour line, which is the part of the garden that is already well tilled. I have spinach down here, and ginger, and even cayenne pepper from last season that is going to bear again. It is well tilled. Around here is full of rocks, which is no problem because I'll use those rocks to make walls and whatever else in the future. So I'm trying to get this line, which is the original contour of my already existing garden space here, to line across there, so I can measure back to down there where I will start, coming right across, stopping where the bananas are, of course. I'm going to plant sorrel in here, corn and other things, peppers. I even sowed tomatoes on the roof recently. So I'm going to show you the sorrel plants that I have now. It's in one of this baby's bath was actually Kevin's. I said in a previous, this was the one that the yellow bell peppers were in a previous video. And after that, I dropped these sorrel seeds in there, spacing them apart. And this, I said it was my niece's, but this one is actually Kevin's, my 15-year-old. The one that's from my niece is actually on the roof. This bathtub is actually 15 years old. But anyway, we'll have to get to planting these right away, but I'm going to finish this row first, which needs a few more contour pegs going across here. So I'll sharpen these pegs and fashion them, and then we'll get to driving some in the ground and using debris across, like sticks and coconut, dried coconut branches and such. Sticks, branches across the contour to hold everything together. Then we'll plow until and plant our sorrel. So it's 2 days later and I still haven't finished sharpening those pegs for the contours, because the sun was so hot when I was in that red marina that it and the shorts I was in was profusely soaked. So I had to go and change them and hold her fresh because it was so hot. Now it's very much overcast. Seems like maybe we'll even get some rain in the evening. And cooler. So I'm going to sharpen these pegs so we can get to building our garden, planting our sorrel for Christmas. Because I need to have some sorrel wine. I know it's expensive. Pertaining to a burial mash up the whole of the crop that was already in progress. I have one of my tool containers here with my measuring tape, my favorite brand of course, Inco, not sponsored. So where I was drawing the rope from this contour line, that's the base of a bed in my original tilled garden space, across here I had marked where the rope went in a straight line with these 3 pegs. 1, 2, 3. So now I'm going to measure downwards so I can get neat contour lines on beds. But I'm going to start with the closest peg to the original garden space, because I want to start the beds down there where the banana plant is. So put my line on here. It doesn't seem to want to stay. And maybe I have to put a small nail in it. Let's get the tool can, because there are nails in it. Okay, hammer. Let's find a nail and we'll drive it in. Now I can itch the tape on that nail. We'll measure downwards from it at a 90-degree angle pertaining to the original garden space. So it wouldn't be like that or like that. It would be like about that. And we are right at the root of the banana plant. And it's 15 feet. While right there, the retractor tape isn't retracting. I'll do that after. So now I'll have to drive a peg. So let's go get a peg. Or some pegs to just do that contour line, which will be the base bed for this side of the garden going across. Because remember I said when you start from lower coming up, then you can land the preceding bed on the back of the bed you are making at that current time. So it's neater, and as well you can utilize the space more. So release this tape. You have to be gentle with these things because remember, technology but not foolproof. Oh, and the button was not released, so it wouldn't have retracted. Good tape. Alright, let's put that back in the tool can. Let's get these pegs. I went and got all the tools I need here to drive my peg in my marking. I have a peg, I have my sledgehammer, my digging machete, I have some water from the aqua house, the ornamental fish house, and I have my other tools in case I need them. And I have more pegs to go across here. So I'll drive this peg in now, and then I'll measure from the next one right there. And there's the other one in right angles. So I'll know where this contour line needs to land. Maybe I'll even step down lower to do a contour a bit below that after measuring it, of course, because all of down here I already did a long time ago when these banana plants weren't so clustery and there was some sunlight. I have to clean these off as well. They had been neglected, partially neglected at least for a while. That one was from a plant up there that fell down in burial. It's not quite ready for ripening, but it's ripening now, and they are not all that good to eat right now. I could have taken them for boiling green at the stage where they were at, but I let them stay too long. I'll just chop them up and use them for compost. It's extra potassium in your compost bin. So let's get to it. First, I'll dig a hole. Doesn't have to be very deep, just deep enough so the water, to hold water so it can soak in. I'll pour some, fill it up, let it soak. Saturate it. And the water will soak straight down because you need to drive that peg straight down. So let's start. I'll put on my gloves. Get my sledgehammer. Firm enough. Now we have to put a nail in the next peg. Let's just put nails in both other pegs. So I don't have to put a nail in the other one after. Let's measure this one. It could be 15 feet. Ouch. It's 15. About right here. With a rock. That's where the machetes and those two rocks are. It's the next day and I had finished planting those pegs and measuring where this bed is supposed to land. And I decided to go further back, so I had made some longer pegs because over the years I had made some contours right here and the ledges are deep, so it's not going to be the same lining as these, which I want to be the contour of the whole garden. So I had made longer pegs to go down here, but for now we're going to focus on planting out the sorrel seedlings in that baby's bath up there. So I'm going to finish contouring this bed that I already made up here, and I jammed these few Scotch bonnet pepper plants in. I can remove these branches now. The pepper plants are doing wonderfully. They haven't gone through a lot of transplant trauma because they're still holding on all those blossoms and those young peppers that were on them. That's nice. These strawberries are planted too deep. Maybe the water that I was using to water them was take some extra soil on the root. So let's get to finishing this bed and planting out those sorrel seedlings. So now I'll have to select about 4 pegs to finish this bed across here, and I'll have to measure 10 feet from that border, that bed, that contour down there. Same contour that we have the pegs on. I drove the nails on recently, yesterday. So 4 of these pegs. Now I'll have to measure from down here and try to keep it about 90 degrees. It's supposed to be 10 feet. Now 10 feet from there is just a little bit too high. I'll cut it down to 9. So 9 feet is about right here. We use this rock as a marker. Then I can use these pegs have to be about at least 4 feet apart. So I'll drop them roughly where they'll be. And now I measure from this peg down here with the nail. I know I won't get exactly 10 feet, I'll get less. But what I will do is while I'm constructing the beds, I will balance out the space by site. So I gotten 8 feet up to about where I'd estimated by site the bed should be. 8.5, 9 feet. 8.5 feet. So I will put a peg here. And I will use that and I can use the tape to line it across, because this is about where the last peg will be. Because this is a walkway from here coming down into the garden. So let's get these pegs in. Now I'll have to dig across these pegs so that the material that I'm putting to back up the bed will fit better across the pegs. Now I'll have to get sticks and debris from all over that will help to contain the dirt for the duration of this crop. This is an old coconut branch. I think I'll put it this way. So I'll get other things to use, and then I will plow the rest of this bed. Can put some manure in and plant those sorrel seedlings. This is a guava plant. I think I'll leave it here. There are some more. Maybe I'll take them up and pot them. There's even a pimento plant over there. So I put some bramble and some stuff along the contour, along the pegs. Now I'll have to finish digging. But for now, I'm going to plant out some of these sorrels in the evening here. Some of those. And I'm not going to use any manure. You know why? Sorrel plants I had marked with small sticks about the distance where I'm going to plant them, because I had to measure, I had to estimate when I had planted these Scotch bonnet peppers that came off the roof out of another bathtub. No, it's actually an old, actually out of an old barbecue, the bottom half of an old barbecue. All of this soil here had been previously manured over the years. I had planted peppers here before. The first thing I planted down here were peppers, and because of the shade from the large trees overhead, although I got product, those peppers didn't come to full expectation. But I had a lot of good meals prepared out of those peppers. They were good. I planted the Caribbean red and regular orange Scotch bonnet peppers. Now these are more sorrel seeds, out of which I sowed these. They were given to me by my younger brother, and I had these from last year. I'm not sure if they're viable. I'm going to try them as well. These were saved back from sorrel I reaped and bought as well. These two heads of corn. I'm not sure what type they are, but they seem like sweet corn. That's the main thing you can get now in the farm stores. I was checking recently and I couldn't get any. After Hurricane Beryl, corn seeds were scarce. Were not readily available. So let's plant these sorrel plants. So the first thing you're doing when planting, notice these sorrel plants are a little bit yellowing because they need to go in the ground. They don't have all the necessary nutrients they need in that potting soil. The first thing you do is to dig the hole. So after taking the plant out of whatever you previously had them in, all you do is put them in the ground, put your soil back over around the root, around the base of the plant, and water. So we can plant 4 thus far. And these are all roots from overhanging trees. Which are mainly fruit trees. This is yucca. 3, 4. Try to take the plant out with as much dirt as possible around the roots so you don't disturb the root structure. I'll loosen it up, just the top just a little bit so that the plant will be encouraged to produce more roots outwardly into the soil. The dirt firmly back around the base of the plant. Then water. I should have brought the watering can, but this jug is just okay. I'll just keep it wide. Perfect. Tomorrow morning I may have to stick some branches around them as well, just like I did the pepper plants, to reduce transplant trauma, because I don't know, it was very overcast today, even into this evening, though we didn't get any rain today in my area. But if the sun, we don't have any cloud cover or overcast tomorrow, then they will burn up in the tropical heat. So I'll finish plowing out there. I'll put in the rest of what can hold the sorrel plants from that, and you'll see how it looks afterwards. I didn't put any more moisture in the pot because I want it to come out in clumps. This needs to be dug a little bit deeper. This one. Morning, y'all. This is the next day after planting some of the sorrel plants down at the garden, and I'm up at the top garden. I'm showing something to you. I always plant flowers since I was growing up in my garden, my vegetable garden. Sunflowers. This is a rose bush. Well, it's my homestead, it's where I live, so I plant flowering plants as well, but I always plant sunflowers and such because they produce tasty healthy seeds. So I'm going to plant some down at the bottom garden that I'm building now with the sorrel. That's fuga, bitter melon. Beautiful sunflowers. This one is producing a lot of blooms this year. See new buds coming up. There are a lot of blooms on it. So here is what I got done yesterday evening. I planted out all the sorrel plants out of Kevin's bathtub, baby's bathtub. I have some more seeds here, sunflowers, cucumber, and the other seeds I intend to plant down here. And I have a lot of other seeds. I can try, some of them maybe not still viable, won't be able to grow. But I'm going to put back some sorrel seeds in this bathtub. I'm going to space them further apart so they're easier to transplant when I'm ready. I'm going to set them off so they can continue growing until I'm ready to plant down here, where there's a lot of work to be done to get it ready. Now these plants that I planted yesterday evening, I'm going to use branches to shape them. I'm going to put a sunflower plant right here and a cucumber plant right there at the end of the bed, because the sorrel seedlings are already finished. I broke off these branches earlier from plants nearby. I'm shading them so that the transplant trauma is less, so they'll recuperate faster. My grandma taught me that trick when I was younger, and I'm going to use another great method that she taught me to keep these plants cooler and more healthy through the summer heat, which is guinea grass mulching. We'll get to that. So I finished shading all of these. And then we'll plant the sorrel seeds in the bathtub. I need a tall one for this one, but it's very tall. So here they are. All the sorrel plants are shaded with branches from the summer tropical sun. I had sieved garden soil through that 1/4 inch sieve. The wire is 1/4 inches wide. The same consistency as the dirt that was in there before. I didn't add any manure because, like I said, sorrel plants are very sensitive when they're younger. Now we're going to plant these sorrel seeds. We're going to make small rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to drop seeds about 3 or 4 inches apart. I think I'll do them about 3 inches apart. So 4 in that first row. Five in that second row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that third row. Put 6 in that one. Seven in that one. And just cover them a little bit. Then I'll water. I'll soak the pot properly. Let some water get into there. Because all my pots have a basin at the base, where it stores a little water. Because I don't bore them at the bottom. I bore them at least like 2, 3 inches or 4 inches up from the base. So they will retain some moisture in there if I'm doing seedlings in it. Or certain long-term crops that will not push many roots, that are surface feeders. Like strawberries that will not push many roots further down in the soil to cause root rot. Then after watering, I'll sprinkle some wood ash. This is strictly from wood that I burn to like slaughter chickens and such. This is to prevent ants or deter ants from eating the seeds. And then again, certain nutrients are there in the wood ash that will benefit the plant as well. So I'll just keep watering those and watch them grow. So people, peace, love and prosperity to you and yours. Happy gardening. Stay safe and everything. And even if you're planting something in a pot, try to do so, because plants can be pets as well. Something you take care of, especially something that will produce something for you to eat. More love later.